Look like shit my money. That's a much more handsome man. You would be correct. Monday, September 16th, MLB strategy show. We're not done with these things yet. Still got 2.5 weeks, I guess, right? Something like that. Do you know when the last day of the regular season is?
I think 2 weeks from today we won't have a show. I think the MLB season ends the 30th. No, 29th, I want to say.
Okay.
So yeah, we've got 2 full weeks of shows, and then we're done for MLB stuff unless we have playoff content. I'm sure we'll have content, but
Yeah,
I
we'll
don't
be
know.
having playoff content, but we're not. I don't think we're going to be jumping off at 9:30 a.m. to
Right.
break down some
A
divisional
three.
series matchup. We'll probably do more like it's probably going to be a lot of showdown type stuff. So
Yeah. I just hate that DraftKings messed up their showdown. Like they used to get extra points for relievers
right.
and stuff, and now they don't have that. So it takes away some of the fun of showdown MLB.
I have never messed with showdown MLB.
Nice.
Like not like I. It's the only one that I've never even just
Yeah.
jammed in like a degenerate. Not World Series or anything like that. So I don't know. I mean, I already feel like it's just a contest and trying to pick home runs, so I can only imagine how essential any single dong becomes.
Yeah. It's I didn't have. I mean, I didn't love playing showdown last year, but I didn't really care about it that much in the playoffs. So we'll see. Maybe this year will be different.
Let's hope, I guess. Let's hope. So let's get the plugs out of the way first. MLB Strategy is the promo code. 50% off your first month of Awesemo Plus. If you want to get a platinum monthly subscription, use the promo code MLB Strategy. Get 50% off. We're covering everything at this point, people. Baseball, NFL, hockey shortly, golf, MMA, NASCAR, tennis, sports betting, college football. We're cornering the market, so come check out everything we've got to offer. And then Yahoo Sports is the presenting sponsor of this show. I'm going to drop in EMAC Spotlight Hitters and Stacks article into chat right now. If you'd like to sign up at Yahoo, there's some information at the top of the article. You can use the promo code AWESEMO to get up to $30 in Yahoo Sports rewards points. They're running back another baller contest for week 3, dropping down from the milli, 500K. It's $10 entries, 150 max. Mm-hmm. So they came up a little short again in trying to fill for week 2. But again, it's a fantastic contest. It's one of the best, if not the best in the industry. So I highly recommend that you check it out again. They're running contests, across the entire scope of pay structures. But in terms of a big flagpole style contest, 500K, no management fee, $10 entry fee is a pretty tasty deal. And the payout structure is really the best part of it all. You don't have to feel like you have to get first, second, or third to make yourself feel better. You can be in the top 50 and still end up having like a really solid day, or top 100 or 200. You're not going to feel like you're left out in the cold because you finished 6th and still didn't get your money back, which is the worst. So, got a couple games to talk about. Ownership has been out. Let's take a look at lineup study from Saturday, because nobody wants to look at lineup study from MLB on a Sunday. Not quite the best spot in the world. Yeah. Looks like a decent day for the pros in the $18 Saturday night. Papa Gates, Mr. Good Seats, Utica, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say too. Just a bunch of 150 maxers, just dominating the top of the leaderboard.
Cheese is good, giant squid, like the whole run of pros are at the top right now. That's how you generally know how that slate played out.
Right.
Did you play Saturday?
I think so. Not this tournament. I've just been playing the mini max and stuff as I've been dabbling in NFL. Well, not even dabbling, playing more in NFL than I should be based on what I did yesterday. But it sounds like a bunch of people had pretty rough days yesterday, so I don't feel too bad. Let's see. So this was, Saturday. Let's look at Papa Gates exposures. Maybe it can jog my memory here a little bit.
Way ahead of you. Already clicked on it.
90% Merrill Kelly.
Yeah.
That is something I would have never done and he came through. 26.75 DK points. Let's see, Oakland.
I want to look at the rest of his pitchers here. So what was chalk? Bumgarner at 37.7, underperformed. Papa Gates had 10%.
Yeah, Bumgarner, I think he only had like 13, 14.
Yeah.
I remember looking at some stuff on Saturday night. I was on the Twins. They did okay. If you look at Papa Gates' exposures, I mean, this is an MME. This is a nightmare if you're not an MME player. I mean, all of his top guys, let's see, none of his top guys really disappointed. His top like 7 or 8 exposed guys. So when that happens, I mean, you're just going to crush. 22 for Machado. Like his worst players of his top like 9 or 10 exposed guys scored 9.
He cashed 100 of 150 lineups.
So you're just going to smash.
The 4 highest scoring teams, Oakland, San Diego, Colorado, and Houston, are the 4 teams that he had 100% aggregate exposure, or not aggregate, 100% total exposure or more on. So his 4 of his 5 most owned teams were the top 4 scoring teams in the day. If you don't do well, you should probably pack it in. Something happened in your lineup construction because he cornered the market on all of the fantasy points for Saturday. And
I've seen in tournaments like this too. Like, so he got the first place, which is obviously massive.
Yeah.
But like I've seen it where someone cashes 72 lineups out of 150 and they lose a third of their entry fees because their highest finish is 12th place.
Yeah. Mr. Goodseed's got 2nd and 4th. Let's see, where's Papa Gates at for the rest of them? 1, 27, 33, 50, 57. Just a lot of Rockies, a lot of A's, a lot of Padres, but he basically had every combination of all of the teams that did really well. That's what you're trying to do, you know?
Yeah, just dominated. I mean, was on all the right stuff. It doesn't often happen in baseball. But when it does, and you're 150 maxing, you win $50K in one tournament.
Yeah. So congrats to Papa Gates. Because, well, you know, like you need that. Congratulations. You're wiping that backside with my congratulations at this point.
Yeah.
Just another
maybe
$1.
Papa Gates did need that. Maybe he might have donated that on the Sunday NFL slate because it didn't seem like, looking at the leaderboards yesterday, it didn't seem like a lot of pros had success in the large field tournaments.
I assume nothing is up on lineup study for week 2
for NFL.
Yeah.
Let me see.
There's not
nothing. Yeah,
well,
it takes a while probably because of the sizing and how many contests there are.
Yeah, I guess it's probably a little bit to parse. 600,000 entries into the play action.
Yeah,
a little bit different than an unwatched baseball slate. Jake, 7 games. You want to just plow through this stuff?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, cool. First game up, and let's get this announcement out of the way right away. Lineups locked tonight at 7:40 Eastern time. I have reached out to the boss man and Laffy and Adam for start time for the deeper dive, but I'm guessing 5:45 would be best.
Yeah, I reached out as well, so just waiting to hear back on that. There will be a deeper dive. There will be live before lock. So
yes.
if you're playing MLB and you're watching us and you're one of the faithfuls riding it out for the end of the season, you'll be covered. But the timing is going to be a little bit different because even if we do live before lock, we want to get off before the football show starts.
Right.
So it'll be cut off at most 10 or at least 10 minutes before MLB actually locks. But
we're going to have a deeper dive, an MLB live before lock, and an NFL live before lock, back to back to back for sure. When that officially starts, probably 5:45, but keep an eye. The events on YouTube will be updated, so you'll know exactly when it's going to start. That's why you should be liking this video and subscribing from the beginning.
That's right. You'll
know exactly what time the show starts. Or check the calendar out posted on the website. Or if you're in Slack, type !schedule. Get the live schedule.
Love it.
First game up, Minnesota Jakes against the Chicago White Sox. 5.6 run implied total for the Twins, 3.9 for the White Sox. Jose Barrios and Ronaldo Lopez. Barrios, 21% ownership on Draftkings, which is interesting. But more importantly, 40 on Yahoo and 21 on FanDuel. The FanDuel number in particular, I think might even be a little low. He's 8,500, massively cheaper then Robbie Ray, who is the other chalk arm on FanDuel today. He's the chalk arm on DraftKings as well. Let's start with Barrios. How do you feel about your boy?
I think he makes for a great option today. I mean, 10-2 is a little bit expensive, but this is a good real life pitcher. And I'm fine taking guys in this kind of slate where it's a little bit smaller. There's not very many great options. They're not a great mid tier. I guess you could maybe make a case for like Hamels or someone like that. But you've really just got low tier pitching. And then I'm okay spending up for Barrios as a minus 230 favorite with a really good team hitting for him and hopefully giving him some run support against Reynaldo Lopez. So just a good real life pitcher. He's not going to grade out as the Verlander Cole type of guy with 25 plus DK point projection. But I think he could get you to 20 pretty often here. And you're saving $1,600 off Barrios on DraftKings. On FanDuel, the ownership is warranted. Yahoo, same thing. Just way too cheap over there. A little bit tougher decision on DraftKings, but I still think I'm going to be there pretty heavily on Barrios.
Hard not to, right? It's a really good spot. Everybody targets the White Sox to begin with, and now you get a chance to target him or target the White Sox with a pitcher that's actually functionally good.
Yep.
So I'm in. I got more than the 21% that we're projecting on DraftKings. I expect to get more than the 21% that's on FanDuel for sure. He's my favorite pitcher on FanDuel, and it's not particularly close. How do you feel about Reynaldo Lopez on the opposite side? Because for $31 on Yahoo, I can get talked into it. 68 and 78 on FanDuel and DK, I'm going to go ahead and pass, but it's not the worst on Yahoo.
Little difficult to get to him on DK. You just got cheaper options that aren't going up against the Twins, that aren't going up against a team with one of the highest implied totals. Lopez isn't very good against lefties either. He's got walk issues, gives up home runs, and he has a sub 19% K rate on the season versus lefties. XFIP is at 620 against lefties this season. Wow, I didn't even realize it was that bad. I thought maybe around 5, but 620.
Not great.
For Reynaldo here, and just going up against a gauntlet of good Twins hitters. The Twins are just way too cheap. Like, I'm obviously very interested in their bats at their respective prices. The only guy that's too expensive is Garver, but you can still include him in the stack as a guy who probably will just go completely overlooked.
Yeah, they are in the group of 3 teams that I got a ton of on my first crunch. They are the 3rd most owned team on the slate, and I think that makes perfect sense. They're Minnesota. They've been putting balls in the seats since the end of March, early April. It hasn't stopped.
Yeah.
So love Kepler, and they're all at, outside of Mitch Garver's preposterous price, they're all at really affordable price tags. They look even better from a pricing perspective on FanDuel than they do on DK, because you don't have to pay out the nose for Garver. Eddie Rosario continues to be underpriced complete across the industry. These guys are heavy chalk on FanDuel, but I'm happy to get to the Twins on a 7-gamer when the 2 most owned guys are Kepler and Rosario, and they're not even over 20%.
Yeah, you said it the best. I mean, there's no real reason to avoid these guys yet because of ownership. There's a couple other teams that are going to be cheap. It's a Coors slate as well, so it's not like you can just jam in the best team. There's a couple other teams with higher implied totals. Cubs are really cheap as well. Some of the A's bats are cheap, so I don't think you're going to get massive chalk in the Twins by the time we get to lock.
I got 30% Rosario on my original crunch. 0 Mitch Garver. He appears to be impossible to get in, even with 100% randomness, but north of 10% on every other Twins bat.
Yeah, that's going to be difficult. I wonder how much, like, even if you get to 5% Garver, I think it's probably worth it just because he has power and he's part of a stack that's like, if you stack up Rosario, Polanco, Kepler, you're saving money with those guys where they should be priced. So you could probably fit him in, but you're not getting to Strasburg, and it's going to be tough to even get to Barrios unless you're really spending down with the rest of your bats and pitching.
Now, I want to see if I got him at all on my 800 lineup. So I got 10 of the 800 lineups had Mitch Garver in them. I just want to see what they look like right now because I still have the crunch open. It's taking a while to filter. It's hard to find 10 in 800. That is not a lot. All right, so highest projected lineup that has Mitch Garver in it. I assume it's going to be a 4-3 stack, but we'll see. No, 5-man. 5-man Twins. Garver, Arias, Sano, Kepler, Rosario, Josh Rojas, Orlando Arcia, Pete Alonso, and a Tanner Roark, Zach Davies combo. No wonder you don't get Mitch Garver.
Yeah. So maybe this is almost getting too cute at that point.
Now this one looks a little bit better. Garver, Crone, Arias, Kepler, Rosario. It's Robbie Ray and Pablo Lopez as a combo. But you get Moose Tacos, Mondesi, and Seth Brown for the A's. So Seth Brown, not anything to write home about, but you get Mondesi, you get Moose Tacos. That's a little bit better. I like that better than Roark Davies.
I like it. I'm a big Mondesi guy, so I'll play him wherever. Sure. And if you could fit in a 1% owned catcher that's on a team with a good implied total batting in the middle of the lineup, I mean, the price isn't that restrictive, hopefully. So I hope I get to a bunch of Garver.
Any White Sox bats for you against Barrios?
Moncada looks like a really good option. 4,500, just a good hitter against Barrios. Barrios' splits aren't that pronounced as we've seen in years past. So batting in the middle of the order, Moncada. I don't think on DraftKings you're going to get that much leverage stacking against Barrios. They probably make for a better stack on FanDuel because you can knock out a bunch more of the field. But that's just me. I don't have a ton of interest in stacking up White Sox bats anyways.
I feel the same way. Nobody really standing out. I'll roster Zach Collins a bit when the NBA season starts, when he's the center for Portland, but I don't think I need him as the $2,600 catcher for the White Sox in this spot. I'm not going to get to the White Sox. I got to 1.3% in the aggregate of them on my dummy DraftKings crunch. Nobody more than 2%. So Barrios and Twins bats for me.
Yep. I'm right there with you.
Brewers and Padres. 5-run implied total for the Brewers, 4 for the Pods. It's Zach Davies and Garrett Richards, who I did not know was on the Padres. Richards is not stretched out. He's not going more than 2 innings today. So I don't think pitching is going to matter on that side. I also don't think that we were ready for Garrett Richards to be in this ownership projections. He's at 10% on DK at 7,600. That is going to be 0 by the time we get to lock.
He's not stretched out at all?
No.
Interesting. I thought I saw something about him.
Unless I read that wrong.
No, he hasn't pitched in the majors this year. I'm just looking to make sure on his minor league.
I believe every appearance that he had in the minors was like an inning or 2.
Okay, so he went 53 on the 29th. That was 2.5 weeks ago. So I still wouldn't
53
expect
what?
53 pitches.
He went 1 2/3 innings with 4 walks and a hit allowed and 4 runs. So I think they just let him die out there.
Yeah.
Because he might have threw those pitches, but they weren't great pitches.
He hasn't gone over 57 since July 30th. So, I mean,
he's 7,600. He's unplayable.
Right. He's 55 on FanDuel.
Also still unplayable.
Yeah. Don't think you need to do that.
Zach Davies is an unknown, though. 18%, 6,100 on DraftKings.
Yeah, I think Davies is going to get a bunch of attention tonight. If he does, I will likely just go underweight on him and spread my exposure out to these other guys in his range. He's just not good.
Any guesses how much I got?
Like 40?
44.
Oh, man. That's brutal.
Not even my most owned low-priced pitcher.
Who would that be?
Pablo.
Let's see. Oh, Pablo?
Yeah.
I like that. I just think Pablo's a better pitcher than him. So
you would be right.
I would appreciate getting to more Pablo as well, even in a worse matchup. So it's a good spot for a righty pitcher.
Yeah.
But it's Zach Davies chalk. It's a low strikeout guy against a team with still some power, Machado and Myers. And I don't know that it's like a perfect strikeout matchup either for a righty pitcher with a bunch of lefties stacked at the top. Hosmer, Martini, and Garcia expected to bat 4, 2, and 1. So Davies is fine. If he stays at 18, I'll be happy to play 18% of him. If he goes higher, which I think he will, I'm going to start dropping my exposure to him.
Yeah, I'll probably not be able to get away from it, which is kind of gross. He's going to have to get through Hosmer and Josh Naylor. Those are the two power threats, really. Righties, he should be fine. Lefty power is his problem. Greg Garcia and Nick Martini don't exactly have that. Like I told you guys, I have 44% Davies right now, so I fully anticipate being north of the field. I don't have a ringing endorsement for it. He's being rostered because of his salary and not because of his skill set. How do you feel about Brewers bats here against Garrett Richards and the Padres bullpen?
I like Moustakas. He was a guy when I was running crunches for cheat sheets this morning that was coming up a ton. So he batting third at 4,800. This is still a decent Milwaukee lineup, especially against an average pitcher in Richards that's not going to go super deep. You don't have Yelich. You'd love to have him in here and stack up a bunch of Brewers, but Moustakas and Grandal stick out as good plays to me. Grisham, just solid value if he's leading off at 4K. So I could get to a Brewer stack, I think.
I'm indifferent here. The 5-run implied total is nice. I think it's in our best interest to get some of the lefty power here, especially after seeing, not that we should read into like one appearance, but Richards just still coming back. Doesn't appear that the command is there. If the Brewers can get a couple guys on, there's enough power here in Thames, Braun, Moose, Tacos, Grandal, Trent Grisham to... Wow, Grisham up to 4K now. Had to happen eventually. There's enough here that if Richards makes a couple mistakes early, like, would you be surprised to see, 2 walks out of the gate and then Eric Thames hit a 3-run dong?
That's always been Richards' thing, too. It's just command. And so coming off Tommy John, right? Someone said in chat? Cantor 33.
Yeah.
Tommy John.
I wish that I could give Cantor 33 like a flag next to his name where it was just like, okay, if I see that, I can trust the statement.
Yeah. Cantor 33, a regular, grinding it out September baseball with us.
Right.
Been here all season. And probably last season too, I would think. So credible source in YouTube chat, if there is one.
Yeah. A not credible source is the easiest way to do it. I don't know how credible you really are. Screwing with you, man. I assume you're a man, at least. Favorite Brewers bet?
Moustakas.
Give me Grandal, but I don't exactly think... Actually, you know what? It's probably Trent Grisham still, even at 4K, if he's leading off.
The 25% price bump didn't get you off of him yet? 4K hitter with the platoon split, batting leadoff?
No, not at all.
Yeah. Me either. I think that's a good call.
I didn't get to much Milwaukee on the crunch. I'm anxious to see how that shakes out. They do show up as my most under-owned stack, so can I give them a little boost to get more?
What do you mean you're most under-owned?
So what I got, I have them ranked as the number 7 team overall.
Okay.
But they are actually dead last in ownership.
They are?
Yeah.
That's a little surprising to me.
I know.
It's not like there's not good hitters or good values. Interesting.
Yeah. So
no hitter getting above 8% ownership this entire game. And no one for the Brewers above 5. So yeah, you're right on there.
I think they'll have like a high, I don't think that they have a monstrous top stack odds, but I'd be shocked if at this number they don't show like a good ratio.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Padres bats. Hosmer for 3,900, I think, stands out in a matchup against Zach Davies. Josh Naylor at 3,600, but this is not a spot that I'm looking to full stack. And if you ever want to play Manny Machado, I will never tell you don't do it.
Yeah, give me some Machado, give me some Hosmer and Will Myers going up against Davies.
That's all I've got for this one.
Yep.
Cardinals and Nats, 3.7 run implied total for the Cards, 4.3 for the Nats. Dakota Hudson and Steven Strasburg, no ownership coming into Hudson. Strass, 36% owned on Yahoo at $52, 17% owned on FanDuel at $10.4, and 20% owned on DraftKings at 11.8. I got to 2% on DraftKings. This is not going to be a spot where I'm trying to target Steven Strasburg. Cardinals are essentially at full strength now. Not that I don't like Strasburg. It's clearly a good spot. Cardinals run total is low, but they're not a bad team, and there are just better options out there. I think Robbie Ray is better priced. I think Jose Barrios is better priced. I think I'd prefer Tanner Roark, but that one gets into a weird, I think I like Tanner Roark more in a cash game scenario than I do a GPP scenario since he's getting ownership. But I'm not all that enthusiastic about Steven Strasburg today.
Tough for me to get there with Ray and Barrios, who I think are similar options for much cheaper on DK, especially on a Coors slate. So that's my issue with Strasburg. He's the best pitcher overall on the slate. Second highest K percentage behind Ray. He's going to get a bunch of righties in the middle of this Cardinals order. It's not like the worst matchup. It's not the matchup really. It's just the price that's scaring me off of him. I just don't want to pay 11.8 for a pitcher when you've got Coors and the Twins in great spots, and some other expensive teams. You've got some expensive bats on Oakland as well. This is just not a price point I'm going to get to, as you guys hear me say often.
Same page. Just not there for me.
Yep.
Most of my exposure is going to the combination. It's Zach Davies, Pablo Lopez, Barrios, and Ray are making up 167 of 200.
Yeah, I hope to be right there as well. I think I would be.
Now, just in case it's not clear, Strasburg has a similar overall projection for me for Barrios and Ray. They're all separated by 0.4 of a point. So if you like Strasburg, go for it. I just don't think he's the most efficient way to spend your salary. I don't think he's a bad play by any means, but there are more cost-effective outcomes.
That's a great way to explain it. I know a lot of times I think expensive pitchers, like almost 12K pitchers, are not the best way to spend salary, especially on Coors slates when you're going to have massive totals. You've got other big totals elsewhere. He's going to lock you into a certain lineup construction that is going to be popular with the Strasburg owners. It just doesn't make that much sense to me at that price.
I like him if you like Robbie Ray and want to get different, but because Ray right now, Ray is at 40%. Strasburg and Barrios are at 20%. Mm-hmm. So I prefer Barrios to Strasburg because they have the same ownership, same projection, but you're saving $1,600. Yep. But if you want to get away from Ray's twice as much ownership, I think paying up to Strasburg to make that lineup be a little bit different could be interesting in a larger field GPP. Yeah. Bats in this game are going to be a tough sell. Cards have a terrible run total and they're facing Strasburg. So I don't see any reason we want anybody from St. Louis. On the Nats side, they're kind of costly on a day with a Coors game. I'm okay with Trey Turner, Eaton, Rendon. So I like a couple of these guys, but I don't get the sense that I'm going to be getting a lot of ownership in here. I have them ranked as my 10th best team. I essentially didn't get them at all. How do you feel about the Nats?
Hudson's a difficult guy to want to stack against on this slate because, you can't really play Hudson here.
No.
Good ground ball rate, and you've got a good Nats lineup. So you could see the Nats just having a good lineup, getting to him here, but he's not really the guy that gets blown up all that often. Soto at 4,700 is a guy that sticks out.
Yep.
The Nats are pretty cheap, but I don't really want to stack here. It's not going to be a team I get to. I can just tell you right now.
Yeah, this is probably the game that I have the least of, and I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
It's just not worth it.
I think the least interesting game on the slate, just from pricing, if you like Strasburg, whatever, but you're not really targeting bats against Strasburg. You're probably not targeting too many bats against Hudson either. And the pitchers are a little bit too expensive.
Yeah. This will be the game I have the least of across the board, pitching and hitting. Cubs and Reds. Let me just double check to see if there's a line on this now. There was not a line when a total.
5.2 for the Cubs, 3.9 for the Reds.
Okay, so they went with 9. I went with 9. God damn.
You're so good.
I'm so good.
You do this for, 200 slates a season.
Yeah. It would be worse if I were bad. 4.8 for the Cubs, 4.2 for the Reds. Cole Hamels, and I did not know this. Kevin Gausman is on the Reds now. Did not know that the Braves waived him.
Yeah, that was earlier in the season. We haven't seen Gausman for a while.
Repping Braves. I think he's in the bullpen now.
Yeah, that's what I mean. We haven't seen him as a starter in DFS for a while. Like, I haven't mentioned his name.
He's also not really a starter today either.
No, he's going to be throwing, let's see, he threw 5 days ago. I don't know. I just assumed he was going to be throwing 3-4 innings at most.
Oh, I think that's a lofty aspiration. He hasn't thrown more than 2 innings since August 2nd when he was still with Atlanta.
So I was being a little bit too nice to him. Yeah, you can't play Gausman here. No. Cubs are too cheap.
Any interest in Hamels? Happening?
What's that?
Any interest in Hamels?
Yeah, I like Hamels. Okay. You're worried about really 2 guys, maybe 3 for the Reds, Suarez and Aquino, but it's not like Hamels can't get strikeouts against this lineup. He's really the only guy in the mid-tier that I think looks appealing besides Tanner Roark, but Roark's getting a bunch of ownership, right? Roark's at 27.
So yes.
And then Hamels is at 15. So give me Hamels all day there. If I'm just making one lineup, I'm going to be playing them both, but I think the spot is similar for Hamels and Roark based on the quality of pitcher that both of these guys are. So I lean to Hamels if this ownership sticks.
Yeah, I think I'm on the same page. I got relatively neutral on Hamels, but I could see this getting better for him as the day goes on. Mm-hmm. Update my calendar quick since I just realized that I didn't know I was going to be on this show. All right, there we go. Didn't want to forget to do it. Yeah, so I got like 15% of Hamels. That's where he's at. He looks really good on Yahoo at $35. He's also getting ownership there, but I think that's really the spot for him. And then 7,600 on FanDuel cannot be ignored. I just think that Berrios and Robbie Ray are a little bit better off, more upside in that spot.
I think Hamels would be probably my third guy that I get to on FanDuel behind the other 2 arms you said, Berrios and Ray.
Okay. So I actually I actually think more of the Reds bats than the Cubs bats here. Did not expect to see that. I didn't really get to any Cubs. Zobrist for 3,300 looks really good, but I don't get the sense that I'm going to have a lot of Chicago, and I'm more likely to have this Cincinnati Reds team. What are your favorite bats in this game?
Favorite bats in this game? Well, Suarez. I think he'll probably hit a homer off Cole Hamels. Chris Bryant at 4,400, even if he gets a couple at bats against Gausman, like, he just shouldn't be 4,400. Schwarber shouldn't be 3,900 against a righty. I think Contreras is probably too cheap. Castellanos is a good hitter, so 2 through 5. Plus, you have Zobrist leading off for 3,300. The Cubs are so easy to fit in that they're going to be overowned, but I'm going to get a bunch of Cubs in mini stacks. My favorite guy is Chris Bryant, followed closely by Schwarber.
I like Schwarber a lot for 3,900. That is a bargain basement price for someone with his kind of power. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't. So the Cubs for me right now are ranked 11th on this slate.
11th.
Well,
then you're going to be different than the field. That's for sure.
They're not owned.
Okay. Well,
they're 11th in ownership too.
How are they 11th in ownership? This is like the team that you have to get to if you go to Strasburg.
Schwarber is 11%. Everybody else is 5 or below.
Well, then I like me some Cubs. I don't know where the ownership's going. Everyone's just hammering Coors.
17% to the Mets, 11% to the Twins, 18% to the Rockies. The 2 pay downs, I guess, Royals, A's, and Diamondbacks are all at 8.
Weird. You could go Cubs, Mets, and fit in Berrios or Ray. So just from what I'm seeing from ownership for pitching, that strikes me as a little bit weird, but maybe once I start building lineups, I'll understand it more.
Yeah, I didn't get them either. So, not that should be any barometer, but I'm not shocked by it. I actually got more than I would have expected. It's essentially all one-offs though, so not mad about that.
Yeah.
Reds bats. I like Blandino in the leadoff spot in that he's 3K, but he's not a very good player. Sort of similar spot for Peraza on the opposite end of the lineup. They're good point per dollar plays, but not really any good. Suarez and Aquino in the middle are the guys that are going to really butter your bread.
Yep. Those would be the two guys to go up against Hamels, just righty power bats that are, massive power bats for both Aquino and Suarez.
And Joey Votto will go under-owned. If you like a red stack, don't be afraid to get him. He's at 1% ownership. People don't like going lefty-lefty, but he'll see a righty at some point.
Yep.
Alrighty. Rockies and Mets. Rockies 6.3 run implied total. Mets 7.2. Big time Coors game. It's a 13.5 run implied total. Antonio Senzatella and Steven Matz. Are we rostering pitchers here? Matz is at 5%, but I think I'm good.
No, I'm good. I mean, anytime I see a $4,500 price tag, I'll at least give it a look. But the only reason you would roster a $4,500 pitcher here would be to play Coors, and the Rockies bats outside of the good ones aren't that expensive. So I just don't think he's necessary. Senzatella. Matz is a little bit expensive for Coors. Going up against Arenado, Story, Desmond. I guess Garrett Hampson can hit home runs now. Did you see that I locked in the Garrett Hampson home run? I think maybe the last time we were on.
What do you mean?
I was talking about how bad he was.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought you were talking like you picked Garrett Hampson on like a Saturday Live Before Lock or something. I was like, what?
No, I got it on Friday. Me and E-Mac both got one. But no, I was talking about how bad he was, and then he donged. And that Twins game got postponed. That was a weird Friday slate.
I'm glad I talk about that. That hurt me bad.
Yeah, that was pretty brutal. It wasn't a game I was worried about at all. I thought they were just going to have a quick delay, and it was going to be fine.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
They had a long delay, and it was not fine.
They had a permanent delay.
Fun stuff.
Chris Carver in Premium Slack said, I think Gaussman has tremendous upside. He doesn't have tremendous upside. He's not going to go deep enough in the game. And Sean Indy, no, my crunch has nothing to do with Sonny Gray being like the projected starter. I don't have that in for my crunch. So the ranking for the Cubs is exactly what I think it should be. Yep. Let's talk bats. So I got to 31% Rockies and 23.5% Mets on the old first crunch. That is 54% of all of my hitter exposure on Dummy Crunch Uno. I don't anticipate being all that different. Anything you want to say in regards to not rostering bats in Coors? It'd probably be easier to point out the no's than the yeses.
Everyone looks in play for me for the Mets. And the Mets are going to be my highest owned stack by a mile. They're going to be the highest owned stack, but probably won't be over-owned, which is what I love. Going up against a pitcher that can't miss bats, it couldn't set up any better for this Mets team. So there's no guy I'm not willing to roster in this Mets lineup.
They look incredible on FanDuel, by the way.
Let's see.
They are like very clearly the top play on FanDuel.
Yeah. It's really Alonso.
They have my highest overall projection, and they are the number one point per dollar team by 0.4 of a point per thousand.
Crazy.
Yeah. They might show up in 50% of FanDuel lineups.
As they should.
Yeah. First three guys, McNeil, Alonso, and Conforto are all projected for 31% or higher on FanDuel. With Ramos, Cano, and JD Davis all at 25 or higher. So
they should be. It's exactly right. Yep. The field's right on this one.
Smash the Mets, smash the Rockies. I don't really know what else to say. It's easier to roster the Rockies because of Hampson, Valleca, and Butera at the bottom. So pay attention to lineups. But, I mean, the first four is what you're looking for. Daniel Murphy really is 4,400 on DK and in the lineup and 12% owned. I would say that Daniel Murphy is probably my favorite Rockies bet.
I can't really argue, although I'll take Story leading off for 5,500.
Yeah, not a heroic take there either.
No.
Everybody wins on this one.
Yeah.
So cue up the Senzatella complete game shutout.
He's done this in Coors. He's trolled a couple times in Coors,
Yeah.
as every pitcher will throughout the season. But
yeah, there's not a bad play anywhere here. Arenado might be a tough sell on Yahoo. He's $27, but this is the game. This is the very, very clear offense spot for today.
You can still make it work with Arenado on Yahoo pretty easily, actually. I ran crunches. Like the pitching is so cheap.
Yeah, and Valleca and Butera are both the flat minimum, so you'll probably have to use at least one of them. But yeah, pitching is making it a lot easier. That's for sure.
Yeah.
2 to go. Diamondbacks and Marlins, the pitching game of the day. 5.2 run implied total for the Diamondbacks, 3.7 for the Marlins. Robbie Ray versus Pablo Lopez. Ray, 40% owned on Yahoo, 23 on FanDuel, 39 on DraftKings. Pablo Lopez, no ownership on those first two, but 31 on DK, where he's just 5,500. This is my favorite pitching combo of the day on DraftKings. I got to 37% Ray, which is with the field, and 55% Pablo Lopez. Both teams, so I wrote up both of these guys for spotlight pitchers. Both teams aren't the best strikeout matchups to their particular hands, but they've been below average offenses, below average ISO. So this is the spot that I want to target most. How do you feel about Ray and Lopez?
These are going to be two of my highest exposed guys as well. I mean, Ray leading the slate with a almost 31% K rate on the season, just been awesome from a DFS perspective. You're getting under 10K here. I mean, you just look at his K percentage on the season compared to Barrios. He's like 7-8% higher, and he's cheaper than Barrios in a similar matchup. -200 favorite. Assuming the roof is closed here, we don't have word just yet, but it's 96 in Arizona. I think the roof is going to be closed. Even better pitching environment. Marlins not a worrisome team. Ray gives up some power, but you're worried about, I suppose, maybe Cooper and Castro's had a decent season. Alfaro, but he should be able to rack up strikeouts here. If he's my number one option by the time he gets a lock on DraftKings, I would be very, very happy about that. And then Lopez on the other side is just, he's not a $5,500 pitcher. He's not in Glenn Sparkman territory. I think he should be closer to 7K here. So I'm just going to take advantage of the savings, even though the matchup isn't great. He is a quality pitcher down here with some sort of upside. And not just a pure punt play, I don't think.
Diamondbacks are my most over-owned team right now. I have them ranked 12th. They are coming in with the 5th highest amount of ownership. Like Lopez is not a gas can. What am I missing? I mean, I guess never mind. Everything that I'm saying is mildly untrue. 26% ownership going to Josh Rojas is skewing the aggregate total for the D-backs. So they are not a full stack in the same sort of way as their aggregate ownership implies. Rojas continuing to be underpriced or just simply not priced basically across all three sites. So that's not as aggressive as it seems on the surface.
Ooh.
Do you like any bats?
Let me correct something quick. Emacs says Arizona roof should be open this series per their website.
Ooh.
Maybe that's why you're seeing the increased totals. 5.4 for Arizona.
Yeah.
Did you say, do I like any bats here?
Yeah.
Not anyone I want to single out against Ray.
No.
Against Lopez, man, Ketel Marte's price has just been so high, basically since the season started. Rojas is your obvious value guy. I like Christian Walker for under 4K on DraftKings. I think that's a pretty good value.
Yeah, I agree. I don't see either one of these teams as particularly stackable. They're just sort of getting benefit from having a couple weird priced guys. Do you know what Marte's line is for this season?
No. I mean, I know it's good. He's been really good.
He's hitting 327 with a 387 on base and a 590 slugging.
So he's
at 149 weighted runs created plus, and he's been worth 7 wins above replacement, which I have to assume is in the top.
That's got to be like top 10.
He is 6th in the league.
This guy was like not like he was an okay player, and now all of a sudden he's just really awesome.
I think that we're sleeping on his season last year. I mean, he only was worth 2.5 wins. He had a 106 weighted runs created plus last year, but he had a 177 ISO. I mean, it's 263 this year. He took a massive leap, but he was better last year than I think we probably gave him credit for.
Okay.
Because he was nothing prior to that.
That maybe that's what I'm thinking of. I remember when he was on Seattle, it was like, oh man, this guy slap hitter.
He's basically just been like straight line up the entire time. So the lag on our mind is a little bit behind, but he's actually been better than average last year and one of the best players in baseball this year.
That's nuts.
Yeah. Dude, I liked him on one slate earlier this season, and Laffy was like giving me a bunch of shit. Now, I'm not trying to take this as like a victory lap or anything. He should have been giving me shit, but ultimately it turned out that he just ended up being incredible all year. Uh-oh.
Your mic just cut out.
Oh, I cut out completely out of the Zoom call.
What was that? Are we still live? Are we still good?
Yeah. But
okay, cool.
Everything is fine. My Zoom closed completely. Just full on shut off. So.
I just assumed we were not live. I was like, man, we got one game cut off. It couldn't just wait.
I assume we're still live.
Yeah, I think we're still good. That was weird though. I'm gonna watch it on replay. Yeah. So I went out of the room completely. You did too.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Anyway, I don't have anything else for Diamondbacks Marlins. Play Robbie Ray, play Pablo Lopez. Don't worry about the hitting.
I agree.
Final game, and then we'll get out of here. Oakland A's, Kansas City Royals. 5.9 run implied total for the A's, 3.6 for the Royals. Tanner Roark against Glenn Sparkman. Sparkman not really getting any love. 7% ownership on DraftKings, where he's 4,900. Did I get him? All right, I didn't even get him, so that's how much I know that it's not appealing. Oakland A's, on the other hand, have Tanner Roark going with 38% ownership on Yahoo, 20 on FanDuel, and 27 on DraftKings. I got to 13 on DK. I don't really understand the appeal. I'm not trying to get Tanner Roark here, although it is a good spot. But I feel like Berrios and Robbie Ray just have so much higher ceilings because of their stuff.
It's a good spot from a run prevention standpoint, but I'm just thinking back to last year when I started doing shows with Laffy. He said September baseball is just about like which guy, like guys you can fade are guys that you would have to come up with a crazy scenario for them to be in the winning lineup for them to hurt you. And this is one of those spots here. Like run prevention, great spot. 3.6 implied total against for Roark. He's not a high strikeout arm. They've got Mondesi back in the lineup. They've got a good top 5 of hitters. So I think the more likely scenario is Roark gets you like 15 to 18 points here.
Yeah.
But Ray and Berrios, I think, can get you 25 to 30. And I don't think it's that, like, they don't need a 95th percentile game to do that. So if he's going to be even higher owned than Berrios, I'll spend that extra $900 and get off of Roark a little bit.
So I have Berrios and Ray and Roark all with essentially the same value calculation, just, points per dollar. But in my target score metric, Berrios hits it 15% of the time, Roark 6%. So you can see sort of the difference in how they are it basically explains exactly what you just said. Roark more likely to just be able to go into this game. Berrios and Robbie Ray both significantly more likely to put up like big time GPP scores.
I mean, that's exactly what I was trying to say. You said it way more eloquently. So we can just cut out, what I was trying to say there, Josh.
I'm probably not going to go back and cut that audio. Might have to leave that one in.
It's already live, so whatever.
Yeah. Oakland A's bats. Thought I would have got a little bit more. They are my number 4 team pretty firmly. And I think they're a little bit underrepresented from an ownership perspective. They're actually 6th in total ownership. I think they look really good here. The ballpark doesn't help all that much, but Matt Chapman at 4,300 looks like an amazing third base option. Seth Brown, as I mentioned earlier in one of those crunches, is only 3,400. That's a nice value option. Chris Davis, still super cheap. I like Oakland. I assume that I try to get to a little bit more than I have right now. How do you feel about the A's?
I like the A's. I just don't know how I'm going to get a huge edge playing them tonight, just because of some of these guys' ownerships. The value guys and the good hitters are kind of owned. Davis, Chapman, all getting a bunch of ownership. So this must be the team that you have to play to get to Strasburg and just jam in the value, which I understand. So I like the A's. It's hard not to at a 6 implied total against Glenny Sparks. But I would like to get to more Cubs bats if they're just going to go completely overlooked compared to Oakland. And then just want to mention, I'm going to have a ton of Mondesi tonight without even boosting up my leverage scores. If Roark's going to be even above 20, I'm going to have a bunch of Mondesi, probably a Soler and Merrifield as well.
Okay. I really like these A's guys. I'll probably only be neutral with the field, just given how much I like those other 3 teams. And for the Royals, I don't know, $2,100 McBroom looks like a cash game play. Mondesi looks great all the time. 4,300 looks pretty nice. I don't get the sense that I'll be getting to a lot of Royals, but especially with where they are right now, they're the 4th most owned team on the slate. I think if everybody's trying to get leverage on Roark and they already do it, then I would rather just get it on a different pitcher or not worry about it at all. So I'm a little less interested in the Royals because it seems like everybody's already there.
Okay. That's understandable. McBroom soaking up a bunch of that ownership right now. But
yeah. Skews it a little bit.
Yeah. Mondesi at under 10% is criminal. That guy's a stud.
It's a very, very true statement there.
Yeah.
Let me pull up Roark right now. Yeah, 148 x-ISO to righties, 192 to lefties. Not really the scariest situation though. For Roark, I can see the Royals being problematic to Roark. I don't really see the scenario where the Royals end up being a top scoring stack.
Yeah, I don't think I'm looking at them in that way, just as fillers. I like to run a lot of 5-2-1s, 5 naked. They'll definitely be mixed in, the top 3 guys especially.
Yeah, like I would rather just not have Roark than try to stack against him. Breaking news, NFL, Drew Brees, torn ligament and thumb, out 6 weeks.
The Saints, what's their record? Are they 1-1 or?
I don't know, man.
They lost yesterday to LA, I believe.
So they're at least 0-1. Who'd they play week 1? Kamara went crazy, right? They won. They had to win.
They won at the last second. Yeah, they won on Monday Night Football last second.
Yeah.
That game was wild.
Favorite Oakland bat, and then let's get out of here.
Matty Chaps, 4,300. That's also criminal.
I agree. Dropping the link to EMAX Spotlight Hitters and Stacks article back into chat. Again, if you want to sign up at Yahoo, who are our presenting sponsor, use the information at the top of the article. Use the promo code AWESEMO. Get $30 in Yahoo Sports Rewards points. A relatively tame day coming up. We'll have Laffy and Manny coming up at 11 o'clock, doing a little bit of a week 2 recap for the NFL. Deeper dive somewhere around 5:45 p.m. Eastern time, running through these 3 games again. Live before lock with me and you?
It is me and you.
Live before lock with Jake and I, again, coming up somewhere in that 6:45 to 7:30 range. And then EMAC and Nolan, live before lock NFL edition, coming up for just an incredible football game. Browns-Jets. I'm sure everybody is going to be lining up early to get to that. That is disgusting. That should not be a Monday Night Football game. Not entirely sure what happened there.
Well, these 2 teams were supposed to be decent this year. I mean, maybe not.
That's no.
The Browns for sure.
Sure.
Division rivalry, I suppose.
No.
Oh wait, no, it's not.
Conference rivalry, I guess. They're both old.
They're both bad.
Look, they shouldn't be the Monday night game. Let's be clear here.
The Browns are at least interesting if they go 0-2 here. So
So tune into all of that. We've got 4 more shows coming up later today. But yeah, Lofty and Manny will be up in 22 minutes. So tune into that one. Jake, do you have anything else here?
If you are playing NHL preseason, I'll be posting stuff in Slack all day if I could find out any line combos or who's playing, because that's half the battle in NHL preseason is who's actually playing in the game. So that locks at 7 Eastern. I'll be grinding some news out for that. And make sure you read Emac's breakdown, written breakdown of the single game tonight, the Monday Night Football game that we just talked about.
I thought you were trying to say that Emac wrote a preseason NHL article. I was
No. We won't have content for that. We'll just talk in Slack, and people will share what they find.
Perfect. Alrighty, everybody. That is it. 7 up and down. Thank you for joining us. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when we go live. Tune in to Manny and Laffy in 20 minutes. Talk to you guys later. Best of luck tonight.